Hi, I'm Angie Stewart with ExerciseTV, and I'm here today to put you through my new exciting workout called Yoga Fitness Fusion, combining elements of traditional yoga and some traditional fitness moves. So let's get started. We're going to be in the center of our mats with our shoulders externally rotated. We're lifting up through our chin, lifting up through the very top of our head, and taking a big inhale. And as you do that, really try to expand the rib cage. And then as you exhale, try to bring that breath right back through the nose and just let the ribs, let the chest, let the belly collapse and sink. We're pulling up through the arches of our feet and trying to keep our shoulders right underneath our ears. Take a big yogic breath in and trying to connect each breath with each movement in our practice today. So take a big inhale, and as you do, start to circle those arms up toward the sky, and then inhaling one side, really reaching here, and exhaling the other side. So you're trying to really pull through your waist, try to grow out of your lower back, and breathe into your upper back. Really reaching here, warming up the sides of the body, warming up the abdominals, and really just trying to stretch out the upper back and the back of the shoulders. Going two more here, really reach, and a little bit higher here, great. And then bring your arms way out to the side again, swan dive forward with a nice flat back. Bring your hands all the way down, soft bend in the knee, and bend the elbows, and just relax the head, neck, and shoulders. Think of pulling your tailbone up toward the sky and breathing here. Bring your hands to mid-shin and then take a nice big breath in, lifting the chin and lifting the tailbone up. And as you exhale, sink back down toward the floor. Connecting the breath with each movement, lifting up and exhaling here. And let's go one more of these, really inhaling and exhale, sink down. Now bring your hands right to the middle of your mat. Bring your feet out wide, just a little wider than hip distance. And big breath in, reach this arm up toward the ceiling. Try to stack the shoulders, try to rotate that top rib cage backward. And trying to breathe all the energy up and out through those fingertips. And bringing this hand right back down to the middle and inhaling the other arm up. If you can, look up toward your fingertips. Again, trying to stack the ribs, trying to stack the shoulders. This should feel really good on the body. This is a bit of a chest opener, of a shoulder stretch, and it really gets into the torso. And then coming right back down to the center. Now widen the feet even a little bit more. And then bending one knee, reach to the outside of this foot if you can, and extend this arm up again. This time we're getting into these adductor muscles, really stretching here, stretching that inner thigh, adding some strength into this hip. Still warming up the body for the rest of the practice today. This move is a bit of a combination between yoga and between fitness, because here you have a great stretch in the shoulders, a great stretch in the chest. That would be a typical yoga move. And then you're also bending at the hip here, hitting more of like a side lunge that you would see in fitness. So you're going to see this move in action in a later segment. And then bringing your hands back to the center, and then walking your hands all the way to the top of your mat, drop your tailbone down, place your hands flat, getting your wrists right underneath your shoulders, and then step this foot back into a plank. Pressing those heels back, pull those abdominals in. This is a great core strengthener. This really hits the deepest part of the abdominals. And you want to make sure that your shoulders aren't way up here by your ears, but that you're really pulling up and out. And now you're going to rotate onto one side into a side plank, reaching those fingers up, pulling those hips up toward the sky. And we're going to add a little bit of fitness here. Just a regular wide push-up. I know you've all seen this one before. And then lift right to the other side. Stretching, lifting, activating that bottom shoulder. Coming right back to the center. Coming to another push-up here. Rotating again. Good. Make sure those hips are lifted. They'll want to sink toward the floor, but you want to keep lifting them up so you keep hitting those abs. Coming right back. Inhale. Exhale. Last rotation here. And then one strong, your strongest push-up. Don't be afraid to put your knees on the floor. That's okay. Coming right here and up. And then pressing back into your first downward facing dog, which is a very traditional yoga pose, really pushing those heels into the floor. Think of this pose as just an upside down V, really trying to pull that tailbone up toward the ceiling. Now start to bicycle those calves. This should feel great on the back of the legs. Look up toward your hands. Make sure that your fingers are spread widely so that you can distribute the weight out of the wrists and into the upper body. And now we're going to combine the downward dog and the plank move. Here, take a big inhale and exhale, pressing back. We're just adding a little bit more of upper body strength than you typically would if you just did one and then went into a stretch and rested and then did the other. Big breath in here. And exhale. Lift hips, press those heels down. Let this be your baseline today, where your heels end up in downward facing dog. Each time you do this, you'll get a little bit better. Now bend the knees and either walk, step, or jump your feet right up toward your hands and flatten the back. Reach your arms up as high as you can and exhale, chair. And coming right out of that, arms out nice and wide, swan dive forward. And either walk, step, or jump your feet back into your plank. And then drop the knees. We're going into a great lower back stretch, cat and cow. You'll see this in a lot of traditional yoga. Lifting up through the chin, lifting the tailbone up, and then exhaling, rounding here. And inhale, making a C shape here, pulling these shoulders back, and then also making a C shape even here. Now notice when I'm doing this, the only thing that's moving is my lower back. You want to try to do that. Try to keep your knees right underneath your hips. Try to keep your wrist right underneath your shoulders. And activate the arms by pushing through the heels of the hands, and you'll get even more of a stretch. And then come into neutral spine, and you're going to extend opposite limbs and drive this elbow to the middle of the thigh, finding abs here, and then inhaling right back out. Exhale. Inhale, reaching. Good. Stay with me here. This is a lot of abs, and this looks like it would be an easy move, but it's really not. It's quite challenging. And this is the last one. Hand and knee come down. Get ready for the other side. Stretch. Think more about length than height. So here, really lengthen, strengthening the glutes, the hamstrings. Exhaling here, really strengthening these abs. Good. One more here. Hold this, contract those abdominals. Find the fitness in this move. And right here, coming right back down. And then widen the knees. Turn your big toes in toward one another. Sit your hips all the way back and stretch. You've made it into your restful pose, child's pose. Take a moment here just to relax. And coming out of child's pose, coming right back into all fours, you're gonna tuck your toes under and lift into downward facing dog. We're gonna move forward into a hip flexor series. We're gonna really stretch the front of the thigh. We're gonna really strengthen the outer areas of the hips. And we're also gonna hit a lot of core in this series. So let's start by really lifting up this right leg as high as you can. And then you're gonna bend this knee and you're gonna drop it over. So this is one of my favorite stretches. And this is a great move because we are strengthening our upper bodies while we are really lengthening through this thigh muscle, through these hip flexor muscles. And then you're gonna extend this leg, pull it all the way through until your foot is in between the hands. Drop your tailbone down. Take a moment to really feel this stretch, and then come up into a crescent pose. This is a strong pose. This pose often starts and leads to some other more challenging yoga poses. But here we're gonna add a little fitness fusion. We're gonna bring our hands to heart center. We're gonna lean forward, and we're gonna start pumping the arms. We're gonna pump up our heart rate while we're engaging the core. Again, if your ankle starts wobbling, that is a good sign. That means your body is working. That means that your body is finding balance and that the center of your body is engaged. You should feel a lot through this front hip and a lot into this quad here. Good. Relax those shoulders. Stay with me just a few more seconds here. And then you're gonna drop these hands either side of this foot. That feels good just to give your hips a rest. And then step this foot back into your plank. We're gonna add a little fitness here into some shoulder taps. This really hits core, really hits the front of the shoulders. And just two more of these. And then we're gonna go through a plank flow. So you're gonna pull your elbows in and then sort of dive forward, roll up onto the toes, into upward facing dog, and then turn the toes back, up and press back into a downward facing dog. So take a moment here to be aware of the changes in your body. As you come into this downward dog, it should feel a little more flexible than the first one that you did. And now inhale your left leg up toward the sky. And then bend that knee and drop that hip right on top of the other. Again, adding incredible upper body strength to some lower body length. The tendency here is to lift up on this heel, try to really push it down into the floor, and then lengthen this leg again, pull it all the way through, right to the middle of the hands. Get your balance, garner some strength here, and then lift those arms up toward the sky again. As you inhale, really pull up from the waist, through the top of the head, up to the ceiling. And as you exhale, challenge yourself a little bit more, lowering those legs a little bit closer to the floor. This can be as challenging as you want to make it. So take your hands here to heart center, moving to more fitness moves here. Start pumping those arms, relaxing those shoulders, trying to engage the core, relaxing the jaw even. We tend to hold a lot of tension there and into the neck and into the shoulders. So this not only helps to engage core and the hip, but it also helps to engage those great postural muscles that will help you stand up nice and tall. And stay with me here, last few seconds. And then bringing your hands down again, either side of this foot. Relax and sink that tailbone down. And then take a foot back, right back into this plank, tapping shoulders here. Good. Adding some strength into your upper shoulders, the front of the shoulders. One more. Take a big breath in here and exhale. Pull those shoulders way back. Downward facing dog. Press those heels down. And then walk, step, or jump your feet up towards your hands. Circle your arms up. Exhale, chair. Inhale, arms out wide, diving forward. Walk, step, or jump back. Great job. We're gonna hit some abs here. We're gonna lift that right leg back up, this time just keeping it really straight. And then you're gonna pull this knee right underneath the body. Hold it here. Great. Lift it right back up. Opposite elbow. Whew, this is super challenging. Hold it. And lifting right back up. So we're taking a traditional downward facing dog, and we are infusing a lot of fitness abs here. And then bring this foot right back down. Come up onto the balls of your feet, and then press those heels back down. Pull into a plank and go through a flow here. And exhale back. Great job. Hang in there. We've got one more side. Inhale, big breath in. And exhale, pull that knee under the body. Pull in through the abs and lift. Really use your breath to help you on these. Exhale. And inhale right back up. And same side. Hold it here. Breathe. And right back up. And right back down. Great, great job. Press those heels down. Lift up onto the balls of your feet. Pressing right back down. Drop those knees. And you have earned child's pose. And great job on that last series, especially for those abdominals. Coming right into all fours, tucking those toes under, lift into downward facing dog. We're gonna take it up a notch here on this series. We're gonna take our left foot forward into a warrior series into a warrior after this pose. Turn your back heel down. Take that extended leg, that hip, pull it forward, and sink down as low as you can. Take the outer edge of that foot and press it into the floor. And then exhaling into a warrior two, a strong, really strong pose in yoga. Holding here, extending out through the fingertips. Be aware of what your shoulders are doing. If your shoulders are way up here, really relax them and pull them out. And then let's reverse this warrior. Turn your palm facing up, lift fingertips up toward the sky, and then keep coming all the way back, really opening the front of the body. And then cartwheeling those hands down to the inside of this foot, coming into almost just a regular lunge. Really press back through the heel and sink down as low as you can, still keeping this knee right over the ankle. Lengthen through the spine, and then take this hand, the outside of this foot, step back, and we're gonna revisit this plank flow. Drop the elbows, big breath in here. Pull those shoulders way back, and exhale, downward facing dog. Going right to the other side, step that right foot forward. Inhale, a big breath here. Find your balance between that front foot and the back foot. If you notice that you're putting more strength in this front leg, try to even it out. Press back through that back heel. Great, and then spin this back heel down. This is your warrior one. Sink a little bit deeper as you inhale. Lift your upper body a little bit higher. And then exhaling into a warrior two. Really extending fingertips away from fingertips, relaxing those shoulders. Great. Feeling a lot of strength into this quad in the front leg. Reverse this warrior, lifting this arm up and then coming back as far as you can. Opening up this side of the body. Breathing deep here. And then cartwheeling those hands to the inside of this foot. Step your back toes straight ahead. Sink your tailbone down again. As you sink with the legs, allow your breath to sink as well. And then take this hand on the outside of that foot, step back, and then walk, step, or jump your feet right back up to your hands. Big breath to guide you all the way up. Exhale, let those glutes fire. Inhale, using your breath to lead you back down. And jump your feet back into a strong plank here. Pressing back into downward facing dog. And then walking those feet back up toward the hands. Circle the arms out wide, reaching all the way up. And exhale your hands to heart center. Walk right to the center of your mat, keeping your hands here. Take a big breath in. Try to refocus here. Really use the elements of yoga to help you through this next segment. We're going to do a lot of fitness here. Some stationary running. So take one foot back and then take your opposite elbow forward and back here. Lifting opposite elbow and knee. Trying to find a lot of strength in the supporting leg. Halfway done here. Lift. Great. Find your focus. Find your balance. One more time. Great job. Come back into a crescent. Extend those arms up overhead. Hands back to heart center. Step this foot up, and then bring your feet out wide on your mat. Turn your toes out. Reach your arms, palms facing up. Inhale, reaching arms high as you can. And exhale into a sun god pose. Inhale. Exhale, really breathe out. Inhale here. We're combining the sun god yoga move with some cardio and strength from the fitness side. Inhale, really squeeze those glutes. Exhale, sink. Reach up, trying to expand the ribs. And one more here. Great job. And then bring your arms out wide. Turn your toes straight ahead. Bend this knee here. Again, reaching to the outside of this foot and then pushing through the outer edge of this foot and this hip, coming right up into a nice stretch. So here, strength, here, stretching. Pressing out through the outer edge of that hip and this foot. Good, lengthening the body here, finding strength on the other side. Great job, stay with me. We're working every angle of the hip in this 3-part series between the stationary run, sun god, and our side lunge. Pause here, walk your hands right back to the center, walk your feet all the way in, and then circle your arms up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Take a moment here for a breath. Refocus for the other side. Taking this leg back, and then opposite elbow forward. Here. Good. If your ankles are wobbling, that means your body is working. Great job. If your heart is pumping, that means you're getting a little cardio, and that is what we're looking for here. Good job. Hang in there. If you want to quicken the pace, feel free to do so. If you want to slow it down, feel free to do that as well. And then stopping here into a crescent. Extend those arms up. And then step that foot right back. Coming into sun god. Again, palms facing up. Inhale the arms and exhale. Inhale, reaching up, and exhale down. Inhaling, exhale. Reach up as high as possible. Sink that tailbone here. Finding breath with movement and finding a lot of hips, a lot of muscles. One more. And all the way up. This time, bending the opposite knee, toes straight ahead. Bend and extend this arm. Press to the outer edge of this foot and stretch this side all the way over. I find that when I use my breath to really inhale and exhale here, I get a lot more out of the exercise. So try that at home. It does help, especially as the poses and the moves get a little more difficult. And one more this side. And then pause here, right in the center. Bring your arms all the way up. And exhale the hands to heart center. Step your feet right back to the center. Take a moment to go inside. Fantastic job so far. Now we're going to move along with a traditional yoga pose called tree pose. This not only will engage your core and activate a lot of muscles in your legs and even into your upper body, but it will also heighten your mental focus. So let's start by really grounding one foot into the floor and bringing this other foot just above your ankle. Find some balance here. And if you're wobbling back and forth, that is okay. That just means that your body is working, that it's trying to find its place. If you want a little more challenge here, you can bring that foot just above or just below the knee, and you can use your hand to help you. So try to press this knee back as you regain that focus, regain that balance. If you're falling over to one side, just get right back up. And if you feel comfortable here, just extend those arms right overhead. Great job. Pull those abs in. Lengthen the spine. Pull the top of the head up. Really breathe. Refocus. And then start to bring your hands right back down and bring that foot right back to the floor. Okay, other side. Start by grounding that foot into the ground. Lift this foot just against the ankle. Find balance here first. Don't worry about anything else. Just try to find a focal point on the wall. Try to find a focal point wherever you can that will give you a greater sense of balance. And then if you want a little more challenge even on this side, lift your foot either above or just below the knee, bringing your hands right back to the center. If you're wavering, consider that to be a good thing. There is absolutely no success without failure. So know that if you are hitting that failure point, just get right back on the horse, get right back into your tree pose, extend those branches. Great job. You look fantastic. Lengthen the spine, engage the core. Great job. Breathe. And on your next exhale, bring those hands down. Bring that foot right back down to the floor. Fantastic. Now you're going to walk to the very top of your mat. Inhale your arms right back up. And exhale, swan dive forward. Bring the hands down to the floor. Step one foot back into a lunge, and then turn this back heel down. You're going to straighten this front leg into a wonderful triangle pose. This pose should really lengthen this hamstring in this leg here. It should feel very good. You should always be somewhere on the scale, somewhere between comfortable and uncomfortable. You want to be right in the middle of that. If you're too far comfortable, maybe you need to sink a little deeper. If you're uncomfortable, you need to back off a little bit. And now bring this hand down, going into a twisting triangle. Hold those abs in. Rotate through the spine. Rotate through the torso. Reaching up. Strong legs here. And then bring that hand back to the opposite side of the foot. Turn your back toes forward. Take a step about maybe 2 or 3 feet up, and then drape your upper body down into a pyramid pose. Really sinking down here. Really trying to find a deeper breath. If this leg doesn't straighten, don't be afraid to step this back foot up just a little bit more, and maybe you'll get a little more straightening out of that front leg. And that should feel a lot better into the back of that hamstring. And now step that foot right back out. You're going to actually walk your hands right through the middle of your mat, easily coming over to the other side into a lunge here. We're gonna find our triangle pose by spinning this back heel down and then straightening this front leg again and opening up the chest, the shoulders, that arm. And your bottom arm can be anywhere. It can be on the floor. It can be just above your knee. If this is where your body goes, then that's where it goes. That's where you start today. And if you continue in the practice, each time you will get a little more flexible, a little more supple, and you'll be able to go a little more deeper into your mental practice. And then going right into this twisting triangle this side. Use your breath to really help you get into those poses. Breathing deeply into the lungs, into the belly, a full belly breath. And then bringing this hand on the outside of this foot. Turn your back toes forward and then step up. Drape your upper body on this side into pyramid. Just trying to relax that hamstring in the front. Again, if this leg isn't quite as straight as you would like for it to be, just step this back foot up just a bit. Try to straighten this leg just a little bit more. This should be a lengthening pose, a rejuvenating pose, one that will help you when you go to do fitness activities. It will help what you contract in those type of activities. It will help to lengthen those muscles. And then step your foot back just a bit. Turn right back to the center and coming into my favorite pose of all, the standing straddle split, where you're just gonna reach to the outsides of your feet and pull the top of your head down toward the floor. Relaxing deeply into this pose, pushing through the outer edges of the feet, and just allowing your torso, your spine to lengthen. And think of the top of your head as being a heavy weight pulling toward the floor. And then interlacing the hands behind the back. And if your arms don't quite go there, just straighten them out here. Or you can interlace and pull your hands all the way together, sinking a little bit deeper. You should be able to sync the breath and sync the body at the same time. Just by holding this pose, your muscles will start to lengthen all of your connective tissue, which will allow you to really get into the belly of the muscle. And then unlacing the hands here, bringing your hands down, and just relax. And coming up out of our standing straddle split, bring your arms out to the side, reaching up as high as you can, and exhale your hands to heart center. And then turning onto your mat, bring your feet close together, and now you're gonna have a chance to sit. But before we get to our final relaxation and our final restoration, we're gonna go into a bridge pose that will give us a little more strength into our glutes and into our lower back and even into the hamstrings. So bring your feet about hip distance apart, bring your fingertips close to those heels, and you're gonna take a big breath in and lift your hips at the same time. And keep lifting. Just when you think you're at the highest point you can get to, I guarantee that you can stretch a little bit more. Engage those glutes. And then walk your shoulder blades together and interlace those hands and pull the fists down toward the heels, making sure that your knees are just over your ankles. I know it's hard to tell in this position, but just try to pull those knees in a little bit more. Engage those legs, those hamstrings. feel the strength in your lower back. This is a really strong pose, but it also gives you a little restoration to what you do in everyday life, which we tend to slump. We tend to be over our computers, on the phone, driving, so our shoulders tend to round. This is a great counter pose to that. And then unlace those hands. Let the fingertips reach the floor again, and bring those hips down to the floor. And this should feel pretty natural by bringing these knees to the chest, stretching that lower back, and then rocking side to side, and just giving yourself a little massage. One more each side, trying to find all those muscles surrounding the spine. And then bring your feet down, and taking one leg straight up and then cross that knee over the other. Pull your knees back to your chest. This time you're going to find a little more stretch into this outer hip. This is the best stretch for this part of the hip. It's very, very difficult to get in right here. It's in the middle of the glute. It's the gluteus medius, and it's really difficult to stretch. And we use this muscle a lot, especially if we're doing sports, if we're doing a lot of physical activity, a lot of side-to-side motion. We're using that muscle a lot, and so we really need to lengthen it with these sort of yoga moves. And then release this side, bring your feet back down, extend one leg up and then over again. Pull those knees into the chest, take your hands to mid-shin, and pull up and in. And yes, you should feel a great stretch in that outer hip. If you don't, just try to wiggle around a little bit until you do. It's hard to reach, but it's there, and this is how you can get to it. And a deep breath here. Bring that exhale into that tight spot. And then bring your feet down to the floor, uncross those legs. And now you have made it to your final relaxation pose and final restoration, extending those legs out and relaxing the head, neck, and shoulders. Just let the feet flop open. Let your hands naturally curl, palms facing up, and just take the next few moments to really relax, to breathe, to restore the body. Breathing in for 4 seconds. And exhaling for double that. Allow all the muscles of the face to relax, especially in between the eyebrows. Relax the jaw, relax the neck, the upper back, the shoulders. If you're holding any tension in that lower back, just let it go. Allow the legs to relax all the way through your feet. And one more deep breath here. And then start to bend the knees and roll over onto one side. Bend that bottom elbow, making a pillow for your head. And then press yourself up into an easy seated position. That felt really good. And then just have a seat with your spine nice and tall, shoulders back. Come into the best postural position you have been in all day. And take a big breath in, arms overhead. And exhale. Remember that although our practice is over today, your results are just beginning. I'm Angie Stewart with ExerciseTV. I'll see you again very soon. Namaste.
New workouts are added every month. Download and work out today at exercisetv.tv/studio.